is on the road again. We're heading to one of Massachusetts' hidden gems for bass. Difficult lake to access, Thousand Acre Swamps. And on the way, we're out here in front of Lyman Norton's gravestone in the New Boston Cemetery on Route 57. Now, what's particularly interesting about this stone, beyond the fact that we're looking at the stone of a Civil War veteran, is that this stone isn't a stone at all. This stone is the product of the American Civil War, where companies cast hundreds, thousands in some cases, of cannon. And when the war came to an end, the whole casting industry needed to find another opportunity, something else to make some money. And these cast iron stones that literally can be adapted to individual needs. Notice that you can put that plaque in, another plaque over here. The screws are covered up by the little rosettes. This product of the American Civil War is clearly seen here, and you can see many more of these stones in the cemetery here in New Boston. Just an interesting little piece of history that a lot of people forget about, but we got fish to catch, and we'll see you on the water. Thousand Acre Swamps here. Beautiful beaver lodge down there. We're going to head down. When you see a beaver lodge, you fish the beaver lodge. And here is an opportunity for us to do a little discussion about the wonders of the North American water rat, flat-tailed water rat, the beaver. Because they are a rodent, and they do reproduce quickly, but they are just a wonderful animal. They create their own habitat, right, Steve?
Yeah, the only thing outside of humans that do that.
It's really pretty cool. And we're talking about the beaver ponds that I'm sure all of you have seen. A lot of you might look at them as nuisances. Mr. Beaver can be a nuisance if you have a stream going through your backyard or across your property and you wake up one day and there's a pond there. I guess that's nuisance.
Maybe you always wanted to put a pond in, but you couldn't get the permit.
Yeah, maybe you couldn't get the permit, but Mr. Beaver, he doesn't need a permit. Now, turtles will often bask on these beaver lodges. And whenever you see a beaver lodge, remember that there's a pile of sticks right near it, because the beaver, he piles the sticks out there so that he can feed in the winter, because they don't hibernate.
Nope.
They slow down a little bit, but they don't hibernate. And there's always good chances of getting big fish by beaver dams, beaver ponds, beaver lodges. Because
sometimes, Dan, if it's a bad winter, cold, lasts long, the beavers didn't store enough food. So they actually have to, well, they have to chew their way out of the ice.
Really?
To get up into the tree.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, just missed one. No, I got it. It doesn't happen much in, oh, it's a pickerel. It doesn't happen much in Massachusetts, I bet. But it happens out where you used to be in Minnesota.
I've seen it happen here, but not recently. That pickerel get off that though?
Yeah, he did what I like pickerel to do. He escaped of his own volition. So you can see, I'll tell you what, you ever want to try to take one of those apart, you're going to realize how good these beavers are at building, using mud and their flat tail to pack it down. And I'm sure that there's some baby beavers under there. I'm surprised that Mother Beaver hasn't come out and started slapping the water with her tail. I'm sure she'll be out in a little while, though. The sun is westering.
I don't think it gets fish for lack of.
No, it really doesn't. It's not near any population center. Think about it. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
And it's a lake that is hard to access. There is a ramp, but it's not a good ramp. It's a classic example of a Massachusetts boat ramp. It has no dock. It's really shallow. You know, good luck putting anything of any size. I mean, not like they couldn't put the boat ramp down a little bit, right? Over by the dam where the water's deeper. No, they want to put it on a swampy point where the water depth stays about 2 feet and it's full of stumps. Oh, one of them whacked it right there. It's full of stumps for 100 yards out. That's Massachusetts. You see him? Oh, that was funny. Oh, yeah, that's what you want. Good luck there, pal. Watch that. It got the lure? Oh, no. Oh, no. He's got a pickerel. My method with a pickerel is get him up. He's got him up. He wants to show the camera now. He's using a whopper plopper knockoff. Tell me if you need pliers. I will have to dig them out of wherever they are. It's a 90-degree day in June. It is warm. And
great tree frogs in back.
yeah, we got tree frogs making noises back there. They're very, very annoying. And Thousand Acre Swamps is a lake that you really have a hard time fishing once the weed beds come in. Right now, if you look out, you can still see wind blowing out there, which says that the weeds haven't filled in yet. But believe me, they will. There's a Eurasian milfoil infestation on this lake that makes it very difficult to fish this lake in late June and for the rest of the summer. Not that it doesn't have great fish. It's got a great warm water fishery. However, there's one. Oh, he got off. It really is like you're fishing a swamp. On a hot, hot day, the smell of swamp.
Yeah. It's not a very deep lake, right?
No, its deepest is about 12 feet. And we were just talking to a lady that is running the New Marlborough Land Trust. New Marlborough borders Sandisfield. Actually, this might be New Marlborough. I'm not sure if this is Sandisfield or New Marlborough. Hard to say. New Marlborough is a beautiful little town, though. A lot of former timber country. That logging companies purchased it to log, and now it's just forest land growing back. Which, of course, my environmentalist friends are trying to cut down to put up solar panels. That's the legislation that Massachusetts created. A legislation that allows just beautiful second growth forests to be clear cut. The people that vote for solar are clearly against clear cutting, but the legislation that the politicians that they vote for create allow for the clear cutting of forest, as long as you put in a solar farm, right? How does that glass and steel do as far as lowering the footprint, the human footprint? Ah, that was a nice hit. Yeah, it creates a heat island just like a city does. A heat island, listen to me. A heat island. Oh, there's another one. Oh, another short strike. They're short striking, and I'm not a fan of using a trailer hook. What are you casting that thing into the weeds for?
I was trying to avoid the weeds, but I got no where to cast, so I cast it.
Oh, I blocked you, is what you're telling me. So I'm burning this spinnerbait. Now the burning technique is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire this thing over by those pads. And I'm going to click it before it hits the water, and I'm going to start reeling. I just bring my pole tip up, and I'm going to make it wake. It's going to create a wake. And every once in a while I stop it. I'll stop it right there. Let it flutter a little bit. And this technique is awesome most of the year. Burn spinnerbait, it's a reaction bait. It just forces them to strike. They see it and they can't help themselves. They're like, oh, that looks like, well, there's golden shiners swimming around here. So they think they see a little pod of shiners maybe. Now, I kind of think we're going to have some bass on their beds in here still. Guarding their beds at least. This is a great largemouth lake. And if not, there's post-spawn bass, and so we can expect them to be on the outsides of the lily pads. The water didn't seem to be freezing, but it wasn't summertime warm yet, right? you got in the water. It seemed like it was about 74, maybe.
It's not. I mean, you could go swimming in it.
Oh yeah, I definitely go swimming in it. I was wading in the Housatonic River the other day. That was a good time. I said, I'm not even going to wear the waders. I'm just going to wade. Because it was 98 or whatever it was, and I figured I'd cool off. And I did. I'm glad I waited. Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at that. You bring it right down. Sometimes I don't burn it completely. I just kind of walk it in. But I feel like the burn really gets them going. Pickerel grass in there. Make it look like a tempting morsel. Oh, there we go. I stopped it. When I stopped it, this pickerel decided to hit it. Did you just have one chase you?
Yeah, he decided to strike when I was pulling out of the water.
Well, this lake has got a ton of pickerel in it. And there are all these hammerhead-sized pickerel now. It might be getting stunted. They don't seem like they're skinny. Oh, you got one?
Yeah.
Make sure you click it over before it hits the water. Just because that will stop what just happened. Or cut it down. It'll still happen. And we got thunderstorms around right now. Every which way. Oh, there we go. Good fish. Good fish here, Steve. Oh, nice. Largemouth. Got that jump on film. Keep him up. Keep him out of the weeds. He's in the weeds. He's doing what they do. Keep this fish up. Nice size fish. This is a good fun size bass. He's not huge, but at the same time, he's not little, and he spawned out. He buried that. He came out and he just crushed that spinnerbait because he was looking to eat. Notice that? Largemouth bass. I would say right around 2 pounds. If he had eggs, he might have been closer to 3. And we're using one of my homemade spinnerbaits. I've been making spinnerbaits for years. And what I do is I use different blades than a lot of guys do. I use a inline blade right here. What's he got? He's never caught a fish on a spinnerbait before. I'm doing my best to make sure he doesn't. Oh, he's got a bass. He's got a largemouth. Yep, on the outside of the weed bed. Give yourself 6 feet. So you can just reach down and grab him. Look at you. Look at you. That's a nice white one. The one I had was a yellow one.
There you go.
Yes. Nice fish.
That's from Bass Pro Shop.
That's a little smaller than mine. I mean, that was about a pounder. But, hey, he's got some confidence in spinnerbaits now. He just caught his first spinnerbait fish.
My first spinnerbait.
Unless you're going to pull a T. Our uncle I'd bring Uncle Tom out on the ocean, and he'd catch a couple fish on eels. And then I'd bring him out again, and he'd tell me that he never caught a fish on an eel. I remember one time he told me he never caught a striper. I'm like, I've seen you catch stripers. He's in the mud and the weeds. I don't know what he is. He's a bass, but I don't know. There's a lot of stumps on the bottom of this lake. Oh, he's not huge, but he's not a bad fish. And he hit it kind of sideways. So as a result, I thought he was bigger than he was. Another spawned out bass. See a concave belly? He spawned.
Yeah.
It's all kind of scarred up from being on the bed. Chasing away pumpkin seeds. We should actually get a lot of fish on that. This used to be fishable in here, Steve.
Yeah.
This whole area that you're looking at now is solid pads, and that was fishable. You could get in there and fish the stumps. Now you're forced out into the deeper water. Oh yeah, he just hit it and I held him steady. He tried, he played. Oh, not that good of a fish, I think he's bigger. He had me buffaloed into thinking he was somebody, but he ain't nobody. He's just a little guy. Female, spawned, putting weight on again. The fish are healthy in here. You've got to admit it. They're well put together. They're not scrawny. They're in good, like, physical shape with their color. There's some beautiful yellow ones and there's some beautiful white ones.
Yes, I agree with you. And they do look like that.
Hmm?
They do look like that. Those scrawny, unhealthy looking.
See, put a big spinnerbait on. I got a big spinnerbait on. I was using a 1/4 ounce spinnerbait, and you start thinking, I can't throw a bigger spinnerbait. They're not going to hit a bigger spinnerbait. These little tiny guys will hit a big spinnerbait. They don't care because it's a reaction bait. It's just a question of when do you use it. There we go. That was a nice hit. See how he was right on the pads there. And that was cool. We got fish on the pads. Like I said, they're off their beds, so they're moving out. That one spawned out. They move out to the weed line, and they look for ambush possibilities. And that's what the spinnerbait does. The spinnerbait comes whipping along, and they're ready for action. These bass. Now, the thing about Thousand Acres now is at this time of the year, it's got some really nice lily pad patches, you know, that you can fish. You can fish a lot of lake, even though we've lost all those stumps. I mean, you could go in and fish those stumps with the rubber frog or something. It's doable. I mean, we're looking in the water right here, and it's like we're looking into a salad.
Right.
We got every kind of weed you ever saw right underneath us. It really is like a salad in here now. I've never seen. Oh, there's another one. Oh, it's a pickerel. I've never seen this lake so full of weeds. So many kinds of weeds too. Years ago, it was just milfoil. It was just overwhelmed with milfoil, and there were patches of pads. Now the pads seem to have rooted in the areas that the milfoil were in. Pickerel, throw them in. More fish. Of course, it is the golden hour. This period when we have color in the sky and the sun is going down, this is our favorite time to fish. So, oh, he's got one on up front. Some guys like the morning. I like this time. He's got a perch. He's got a whoppa ploppa. Look at that. He's got a perch on a spinnerbait. Unprecedented. I had one earlier. They don't know what's going. They don't know what they are. He must think he's a bass. You got to show us the perch, people. Oh, that could be your PB perch. You've caught bigger perch than that.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
That's a nice perch, though. Oh!
Nice looking perch, though.
Perch are beautiful.
Yeah.
Talk about a great fish tank fish. You know, you're going to have a fish tank fish. Anything from South America that's colored like a perch costs like $30 in a tank. What a beautiful, beautiful afternoon it turned out to be, despite thunderstorm possibility.